In the cozy, moss-covered house at the very top of Whispering Hill lived a tiny kitten named Pip who dreamed of the clouds. Pip was not like the other cats. He was no bigger than a dandelion seed, with fur the color of soft cinnamon and eyes that sparkled like two little moons. Every morning, Pip would jump onto the windowsill and watch the world spin slowly below, imagining that if he could just leap a little higher, he might touch the fluffy white things floating in the blue sky. His paws were soft and padded, perfect for walking on the warm stone floor or catching a falling leaf, but Pip often felt a strange tugging in his chest, a feeling that his heart was too big for such a small body. He would press his nose against the cool glass and whisper, "One day I will fly," hoping the wind would hear his secret wish and carry it away to the highest peaks. The house smelled of dried lavender and warm milk, a comforting scent that usually made him sleepy, but today his mind was busy with pictures of birds soaring freely above the treetops. He dreamed of seeing the world from above, where the grass looked like a green carpet and the rivers looked like ribbons of silver silk. Pip knew he was small, but he also knew that his heart was full of a magic he had not yet found, and he waited every single day for the moment when the sky would open its arms to welcome him. One sunny afternoon, Pip decided he had to try something new, so he gathered all his courage and ran out into the big meadow where the sunflowers stood tall and golden. The air smelled sweet with the scent of blooming wildflowers and fresh, warm grass, and a gentle breeze rustled through the leaves of the old oak tree nearby. Pip took a deep breath, filling his lungs with the cool, crisp air, and then he jumped as high as he could towards the sky, hoping that his little paws would catch a current of wind. For a second, he felt a strange tingling sensation in his toes, as if tiny invisible hands were lifting him up, but then gravity gently reminded him that he was still a cat, not a bird, and he began to fall. "Oh no," Pip whispered, his voice trembling a little as he landed softly in a bed of fluffy clover which made him bounce like a little rubber ball. He looked up and saw a beautiful bluebird sitting on a low branch, looking down with kind, bright eyes. "You are very small, little cat," the bluebird chirped softly, tilting its head. "But you are also very brave for trying to reach the sky." Pip felt his cheeks turn warm with embarrassment, and he tucked his tail between his legs. "I just wanted to fly," Pip admitted, his voice quiet. "It feels like my heart is trying to get out of my body, but my paws are too small to hold onto the wind." The bluebird hopped down onto the clover and nudged Pip's nose with its beak. "The wind is not meant to be held, little friend," the bird explained gently. "It is meant to be felt, and that is a different kind of magic." Just then, an old tortoise named Barnaby slowly shuffled out from behind a large rock, wearing spectacles that magnified his kind, watery eyes. Barnaby had seen many things in his long life, from baby squirrels learning to climb to kittens learning to swim. "Pip," Barnaby rumbled, his voice deep and slow like a rolling thundercloud, "you are not alone in your dream." Pip looked up, surprised to see the slow-moving tortoise. "But Barnaby," Pip said, his ears twitching nervously, "I am too small to fly. Everyone says cats only walk and jump." Barnaby adjusted his spectacles and smiled, showing rows of tiny yellow teeth. "We walk and jump because our paws are made for the earth," he explained patiently. "But the sky is a special place for everyone who believes in it, Pip. The wind does not care how big or small you are, only how much you trust it." Pip thought about this for a moment, looking at the bluebird and the tortoise. "How can I trust the wind if I cannot hold it?" he asked, feeling a little confused. The bluebird fluffed its feathers and spread its wings wide, showing off the brilliant shades of blue and green. "Watch me," the bird said, and then it took a deep breath and jumped off the branch. Pip held his breath, watching the bird glide effortlessly on the breeze, dancing above the trees like a living jewel. Barnaby chuckled softly. "See, the bird does not fight the wind. It lets the wind hold it." Pip felt a tiny spark of hope ignite in his chest, a warm feeling that spread from his heart to his toes. He closed his eyes and imagined the wind as a giant, invisible blanket wrapping around him, lifting him up without him having to push or pull. Pip took a step forward, his paws feeling a little light, as if the ground was losing its hold on him. He tried to think of the wind as a friendly giant hand, not a scary force that might blow him away. He imagined the wind singing a soft, humming song, a melody that sounded like rustling leaves and whispering secrets. He listened to the sound of the breeze moving through the tall grass, a sound like 1,000 tiny whispers saying, "Fly, little one, fly." He opened his eyes and saw the bluebird hovering above him, waiting with open arms. "Try to feel the wind in your fur," the bird encouraged, its voice gentle and clear. "Imagine your whiskers are drinking the breeze like a cat drinks milk." Pip focused on his whiskers, imagining them drinking the invisible liquid of the air. Suddenly, he felt a rush of cool air against his soft, cinnamon-colored coat, and for a moment his paws seemed to float just an inch off the ground. He wobbled a little, and the wind caught him again, lifting him slightly higher. "I am doing it!" Pip cheered, his voice full of joy. He spun around in the air, feeling the wind tickle his belly and his back. He was not flying like a bird with wings, but he was floating like a feather on a cushion of air. Barnaby watched with a smile, his slow eyes filled with pride. "You are learning to dance with the wind," Pip, the tortoise, said softly. "That is a kind of flying all its own." As Pip floated higher, he saw the world from a new perspective, and the colors were even more beautiful than he had ever imagined. The green of the meadow looked like a giant quilt made of emeralds and jade, and the blue of the sky was a deep, endless ocean. He could see the tiny ants marching in lines on the leaves, and he could smell the sweet scent of rain that was still in the air from the morning. Pip laughed, a sound like tiny bells, as he dipped and soared, following the wind's playful curves. "Look at me!" he called out to the bluebird, who was now diving and swooping around him in a graceful dance. "I am flying!" The bird laughed back, a chirp that sounded like musical notes. "You are dancing with the wind, Pip, and that is the best kind of flying." Pip felt a warm glow in his belly, a feeling of pure happiness and freedom. He realized that he did not need to be big to be strong, and he did not need to be fast to be brave. He was just a tiny cat who knew how to listen to the world around him. The wind whispered new secrets to him, telling him where the currents were strong and where the air was gentle. He learned that flying was not about fighting against the earth, but about moving with it, like a leaf on a stream or a cloud in the sky. His heart felt full and safe, knowing that he was never truly alone because the wind was always there to catch him. When the sun began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Pip knew it was time to go home. He gently landed on the soft grass, his paws feeling grounded and steady again. "You did it, Pip," Barnaby said, his voice warm and soothing. "You found your own kind of magic." Pip nodded, feeling tired but happy, his body full of good energy. "Thank you, Barnaby," he said, "and thank you, little bird." The bluebird hopped onto his shoulder, and Pip felt a tiny weight of warmth. "We all have different ways to fly," the bird chirped. "Birds fly with wings, fish swim with fins, and you fly with your heart and your courage." Pip smiled, and he felt a deep sense of peace settle over him. He walked slowly back towards the house, his steps confident and sure. The air smelled of evening blossoms and the promise of a quiet night. He thought about how brave he had been today, and how kind his friends had been to help him see the truth. He knew that tomorrow he would try again, and maybe tomorrow the wind would sing a different song, or maybe he would learn to dance even better. But for now he was content, knowing that he could fly in his own special way whenever he wanted to. Pip climbed the stairs to his cozy bed, which was made of soft hay and lined with a quilt of stars. He curled up into a tight ball, his tail wrapping around his nose like a warm scarf. The house was quiet, filled with the sounds of crickets chirping and owls hooting softly in the distance. Pip closed his eyes, and the last thing he saw was the moon rising above the hill, a bright white lantern in the dark sky. He dreamed of flying again, soaring through the starry night, visiting the moon and the stars. In his dream, he flew so high that he could touch the clouds, and they felt like cotton candy, soft and sweet. He was not afraid of the dark, because he knew the wind was still there, holding him gently. He felt safe and loved, surrounded by the warmth of his new friends. The bluebird visited him in his dreams, singing a lullaby that sounded like a gentle breeze. Barnaby was there too, telling slow, steady stories about the mountains and the deep oceans. Pip slept deeply, his dreams filled with flight and freedom, and his heart felt light and happy. He knew that no matter how small he was strong, and he was loved. The wind hummed a quiet song to him, rocking him to sleep in a world of wonder and magic. And now it's time for you to close your eyes to good night, little one. Sweet dreams.